Puma hired someone else without even telling me or communicating. So at this point, I don't know what to do. I am trying to get a job. I'm trying to work because I have bills to pay, and I am now just engaged with my fiance.
I've been unemployed for about a month now, and it sucks.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So it looks like all the people on TikTok were right. The job market is kind of in shambles. So let's take a look at what's happening and see what we can figure out.
I see the biggest revision we've had. I'd go back 25 years here. This may be the biggest revision ever, Sarah. We minus 911,000 payroll growth from April of 2024 through March of 2025 is 911,000 less than previously reported. What has happened now to the month over month, or the monthly growth rate, has gone from what we thought was 147,000 a month to now just 70,000 a month. So 1.7 million jobs is now 847,000 jobs created over that period. So over that time period, payrolls were quite a bit weaker. Remember, this is the period ending 5 months ago. This is the annual benchmark revisions that's done every year. This is a preliminary number. Over time, it tends to actually be revised a little bit higher. The revision to the revision ends up being a little bit higher, but right now it's suggesting much weaker payroll.
So jobs market report came out today. And as you can see, the job market is in a much, much worse place than at least the statistics were pointing to. It was revised down 911,000 jobs from April 2024 to March 2025. That is significant. There's never been a revision downward that high in the history of the time that they've actually been reporting this data. So that obviously is not good. And that kind of actually goes along with what most of the sentiment of Americans has been saying for the past year or even longer, honestly, that we've kind of been in this silent depression, that there really has not been any jobs available. Because time after time when I go on TikTok, I just see young people and just people in general struggling to find jobs. It doesn't really matter which industry they're in. Aside from healthcare, you're struggling. And we're now entering into a place where the Federal Reserve probably is a bit too late on cutting rates. And you may not know what that means, basically, but basically, we are definitely in this position because of the Federal Reserve and bad data. For some reason, the data that we've had is just completely off, whether it's been purposefully manipulated or it's just cracked how they actually get the data. And we'll touch on that in a little bit. But I do want to talk about just normal everyday Americans that are struggling to find jobs, particularly young people, because again, I see these videos all the time, and it's just unfortunate because we are now entering into a place where inflation looks to be going back up and people are just not finding jobs. And I think in this next video kind of shows how desperate young people are starting to get.
Hi, my name is Noah Nelson. I live in Arizona. Around Tulsa area, Surprise area. I've lived here most of my life. For the past month, like about 2 months, I have been unemployed for reasons of I can't find a job. I have applied every single place. I just applied to Carvana and they just didn't accept me because I was too late for an interview because they weren't communicating to me at all. I have applied to multiple warehouses, Vanguard, Puma hired someone else without even telling me or communicating. So at this point, I don't know what to do. I am trying to get a job. I'm trying to work because I have bills to pay, and I am now just engaged with my fiance. But she is working her ass off and doing everything that she can. Well, I can't do anything. I don't know what to do at this point. And if anyone else feels my pain, please like this and share it, because I don't feel like anyone else is understanding us anymore. And it's really pissing me off.
Well, I can tell you one thing. There are many people that resonate with this video just based on how much it popped off since he's posted it. I will give one word of advice, though, and this is not a criticism, but it's probably not a good idea to post this type of video if you're looking for a job, because your employers might be looking at your social media accounts and seeing you post this. It's just not great optics. But anywho, young people in particular, especially young college grads, are struggling to find a job right now. And that's not a good place to be in when you do have these individuals who are qualified from an education standpoint, trying to get a job, and it's just not working out. And it's one of those things where it doesn't really matter where you are trying to look. The opportunities are not there. And again, this can kind of point back to the Federal Reserve keeping rates so high for so long. And because of that, it's just not allowed employers to be able to expand their growth with hiring. And again, when people point out to the unemployment currently being at or near record lows, you have to now question that, because the data we're looking at is just not guiding us correctly. And I think with this latest labor revision downward, everything's in question now. And this next individual, again, in the same position, been unemployed. Let's take a look.
Wow, I think I'm going to be a little vulnerable right now. This job search thing is seriously for the birds. Like, what a way to really check any ego anyone could possibly have. I've been unemployed for about a month now, and it sucks. Looking for a job.
It does suck.
Absolutely sucks right now. I have over 10 years of experience in SEO, in an industry that is and will continue to be valuable.
I did want to say one thing. If she's referring to search engine optimization, I don't necessarily agree that industry will be valuable, because AI. A lot of these things when it comes to search, when it comes to internet, search engine optimization, digital marketing, now a lot of these jobs can be outsourced to artificial intelligence, because all of the information that individuals like herself that possess the skills for SEO is just readily available online. You can literally learn how to do SEO on YouTube. And unfortunately, it is something that will probably be outsourced, because you don't need a person, if you're working in a company, to do search engine optimization for you. If AI will do it for you, you just don't. You just need one marketing individual to kind of handle that, and you'll be good. So it's just something to be aware of if you're also in digital marketing as well.
And I just continue to get no after no after no, and I don't understand why. It really sucks. So if anyone could send pictures of dogs or words of encouragement, I could really use them right now.
Now, obviously, I'm not going to say anything negative about this girl. I do genuinely wish she finds a job. Genuinely. It is unfortunately one of those times in the American experiment that people are going to have to get scrappy. Now, of course, if she's applying for jobs at companies, that's where I don't think that she might be useful. At least the SEO might be useful. However, doing something on your own, creating your own agency, reaching out to business owners, that's where she might find some success. Freelancing, because there's so many business owners out there that need help with that. They do genuinely need help with SEO. Again, I'm assuming that's what she's referring to as search engine optimization, but they just need help with their business and marketing their business. As a business owner, I understand the plight of trying to do everything on your own. And I think for most people, this is where the market is going to shift, because the traditional job market of 9-to-5 jobs and working for corporations, things like that, that's where there's a lot of struggle right now. And don't get me wrong, there's struggle with business owners as well, because there's just less money flowing through the market. However, you can get scrappy, take responsibility for your actions, what's happening in your own life, and just make things work on your own with the skills that you have. Now, I know many people will say that that's not realistic, but based on what I'm seeing, based on the desperation that I'm seeing, sometimes you just have to do it. I've been there. The best decision I ever made was starting my own business and kind of realizing that the traditional job market was just not something that I was built for. And now I'm very happy with where I am. And many people are who have done the same thing. It's not easy though. It's very, very difficult. So kind of have to pick your heart. But like I mentioned, I do want to kind of touch on why the job data is so off. And this creator, Zachary Loft, who makes some funny videos, kind of made one that explains this to a degree. And so let's take a look.
Why is the unemployment rate so low if the job market feels so bad? Because the unemployment rate that we track is inaccurate. The unemployment rate isn't inaccurate. The unemployment rate, U3, that we get is from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. Do you know how they get it? No. They make 80,000 phone calls. Huh. You contact the head of the household, see who's in there and how many are working. What a survey. Okay, well, it seems like a good piece of the pie. That is the pie. But what about all the people that don't answer their phone because they don't have the number saved? They're not talking to them. And if somebody doesn't have the time, energy, or wherewithal to take a voluntary survey, we're not getting their data. Now your brain's cranking, and the unemployment rate is utilized in the Federal Reserve's meeting every single month, and trillions of dollars in our economy moves around based off a rate from a survey. For a number that's so vital to understand the working class economy's health to be tracked accurately and for us to still be doing it via an archaic phone tree is kind of crazy. Yeah, you want to know what else? No, honestly, but go ahead. When they're talking to Aunt Josephine on that phone call survey and she says, yeah, my son, actually, he's been kind of knocked down by this job market to the point for the past 4 weeks there's been no momentum, they'll no longer count him as unemployed. So if he's super unemployed, he no longer counts? No longer counts. What a beautiful process.
So shout out to Zachary Loft for that video. It is an archaic system. But I mean, looking at the government, looking at pretty much everything that's touched by the federal government, and you'll just notice that everything is archaic. I mean, if you look at the FAA and the technology they utilize with air traffic controllers and all that kind of stuff, that's just one example. It's crazy how far behind that stuff is and why no one has really put in an effort to update it. The same thing goes to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It's just clearly not a tracking system, these surveys that we can trust. And because of that, our monetary policy has positioned us, Americans, and most of the first world, very poorly. So what's going to happen is going to be interesting because, for one, most people don't really know what's going to happen. Many are saying that there is already a silent recession happening. And I'm based on this, I kind of agree because I do think the unemployment rate is higher than it is currently being advertised. How much higher it is, no idea. But we do know that 970,000 jobs that were said to have been logged are not actually logged. And with that in mind, I did find a few videos, but one in particular that I found just so interesting with young people going in the opposite direction of the curve. Because one might think, if with all this unemployment happening, with all these job market revisions happening, I would never quit my job in this current climate, but you'd be mistaken. So let's take a look.
Everyone is saying that the job market is horrible right now, but I don't care. I'm quitting anyways with nothing lined up, and here's why. It is easier than ever to make money online. The amount of resources that we have is crazy abundant, especially with AI. Now, have I made a lot of money online? No. I've made a little bit here and there with side hustle stuff, but they eventually fizzled out. And why did they fizzle out? It was because I was burnt out from work and barely had any time to work on them outside of work. I am not saying that you can't build your side hustle business while having a full-time job. That's actually the smart way to do it. And I don't recommend just cold turkey quitting your job with no plan or no skills on how to gain income. But over the past few months, I have been learning a lot of new skills that can make you money online. And I have been seeing a lot of progress, and I am way more knowledgeable at these things. So that leaves me in a good spot to actually be able to jumpstart what I want to work on after leaving my job. I saved up enough money from my job to be able to quit comfortably for about 6 months. And with all this new free time, I am going to be advancing my skill set and just getting a lot more knowledgeable on the skills that I'm learning in order to make money online. I'm not saying that this is a foolproof plan, but I'm 25. I don't have a ton of responsibilities right now, except for like rent and insurance, stuff like that. And if there is any time to make a change in my life, then now is the time that I want to do it. And with just so many resources available to us now to make money online, I feel like in 6 months, if you are working really hard, you can make something happen. And that's what I'm going to be doing, and follow along for the journey.
Shout out to KCS Day, or KCG on TikTok. I don't disagree with what he's saying. I have said on this channel multiple times, and I will continue to say, traditional jobs are on their way out from, a corporate setting. at least for the time being. Corporations will always exist, but again, you have to take into account now that they will outsource many jobs to AI. We don't know how much, it's just impossible to know, but that is going to happen. Blue collar jobs are going to be where it's at. Those are going to be the next big millionaires in the next 5 to 10 years. But again, I do agree with him in terms of we've never had this much information available, and it's never been easier to make money online than it is today. What he's doing is going to be very difficult, very, very difficult. He is 25 though. He doesn't have a kid, doesn't have a wife. So if there's anyone that's in the position to do it, so I'll be interested to follow along to see his journey. And I do wish him well. I do wish that he does incredible things. There's actually a whole movement online of individuals kind of leveraging this relatability of just not liking their job, quitting their job, whatever the case may be, not being able to find a job, leveraging that to create an online business, an online persona to help others create money online, which is just so interesting. And this next guy is a great example of that.
You have a job right now, do not leave your job. You might never get a job again.
Complete and total opposite message from the last video, but we'll keep watching.
Like, this might be the end of jobs for you. I'm not kidding. Basically, no one can get a job right now. There's a lot of people tweeting and, you know, straight up college grads, Yale, all the Ivies, they're just like, I can't get a job. I'm whatever major, I have a good GPA. I've applied for every possible position in New York and I can't get a job. So if you, normal person on TikTok, leave your job, you're... Hey, good news is you can turn to content.
And he's not wrong. I mean, he is someone that is advantaged in this. He's a good-looking guy, and he has amassed a huge following. At least to my standards, a huge following. I think like over 130,000 people online follow him on TikTok. And he also works with companies making user-generated content, and he mentors people. So very crafty guy. And these are the types of people that I think are going to thrive in the next 3 to 5 years, are people that are scrappy enough to use the internet to leverage the platforms and make the money, where the traditional jobs are just not going to yield as good results, I think, in the short term and perhaps the long term as well. Times are changing. That's the biggest thing you need to walk away from this video is times are changing and you have to adapt. Just like throughout history, times have changed and we've been expected to adapt. So take all that with a grain of salt. Obviously, it's just my opinion. Do with it what you will. I do think we are entering into a very strange time when it comes to the job market that is genuinely going to correct and potentially falter, because once you start to see signals of the job market going in the wrong direction, they tend to just all come at once. It's not like it trickles and you can see it slowly happening. You'll see the first big signal and then it kind of just goes downhill from there, historically speaking, on the job market. And this latest data, I think, is the biggest indicator that we're not going to be in a good position when it comes to jobs in the short term, for sure. So take that, like I said, as you will. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a comment if you yourself are experiencing the hardship of the job market. If you agreed or disagreed with anything I said, would love to start conversations below that are productive, of course. And if you enjoy videos like this, please click on the next one that's flooding next to my head. And until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.